IIT JAM 2022 question number 1. When the supply curve Fx is backward bending and the demand curve Dx is downward sloping. So this is the supply curve and the demand curve is this. There are two equilibria M and N. Which of the following is correct? So we need to talk about which of them are stable and the other is unstable. Now in the general case, when we draw a supply and a demand curve, the equilibrium we get at this point. The reason why we get equilibrium at any point is because here we have excess demand. Whenever I have excess demand, obviously the price will go up, and whenever I have excess supply, the price will go down. Here again we need to see where we have excess demand. So here we have excess demand, supply is this much, demand is higher, so the price will go up, N will happen. After N also I have excess supply and less demand, so the price will go down. Okay, so N is definitely a stable equilibrium. Okay, N is definitely a stable equilibrium. What about M? In M, what we see is here we have excess supply. Excess supply will not increase the price, it will decrease the price. Right? So M is not a stable equilibrium. In fact, this I can write as an unstable equilibrium. So it's not an equilibrium. Okay. So M is unstable, but N is stable. Only N is stable. Answer is B.
Question number 2. Which of the following deficits indicates the true current fiscal position of the Indian economy? Revenue deficit, yes. Capital deficit, no. We don't have a capital deficit. Current account deficit, yes. So together we can indicate the primary deficit. That if you have to choose one, then both these are taken into account by the primary deficit. So the answer is D, primary deficit.
We are now going to take a look at IIT JAM Math and Stat solution question number 3. Okay. So which of the following correctly defines the relationship between the variances of sample means for simple random samples drawn with or without replacement from a normal population? This is the formula for the with replacement. This is the formula for without replacement. Okay. Sure. Let me make it larger so that all of you are able to see it better. Okay. So yes, sigma square by n is my with replacement. Sigma square by n into n minus n by n minus 1 is the without replacement part. ठीक है? ओके, तो अब हम लोग क्या देखेंगे? अब हम लोग बेसिकली देखेंगे कौन सा बड़ा है, कौन सा छोटा है. So it's a no-brainer that n minus n will be less than n minus 1. Therefore, n minus n divided by n minus 1 will be less than 1. Now if I multiply by sigma square by n both sides, you get sigma square by n into n minus n by n minus 1 less than sigma square by n. So what is the answer? The answer is A for this one. Okay.
Question number 4. Suppose that 1 million unemployed persons in the country are receiving 6,000 per month per person as an unemployment insurance. If the government, instead of paying unemployment insurance, has all of them at the same amount, 6,000 per month, and engages in digging pits and filling the pits, what will be the effect on GDP? So from 6,000 earlier was transfer payment. So it would not be included in GDP. But now since they are working, now the work may be digging pits and filling them back. So, but they are still doing back-breaking work. So they are working. That work may not be productive. Right now, that's a separate thing altogether. That work may or may not be counted as investment or consumption expenditure, whatever that may be. So they are working. So now this income, which is now earned income. So now this is earned income. Now, if they don't work, they will not be paid any money. So that's why this goes into the category of earned income. And as earned income, now it will be a part of GDP. So the GDP shall rise as a result of this action. Which constitutional amendments have provided this constitutional status to rural and urban local bodies in India? That's the 73rd and the 74th Amendment.
JAM 22, question number 6. Let W be a subspace of a vector space in R cube, then which of the following sets of vectors forms the basis of W? So W is a subspace of R cube. R cube का subspace में basis will only be 3-dimension vectors and exactly 3 vectors. Okay, so a dimension in R cube will be basically R cube type 3 vectors. A dimension in R4 will be R4 type 4 vectors. Now these vectors obviously have to be linearly independent. They have to be linearly independent. So यहाँ पर obviously A cannot be the answer, B cannot be the answer. I can't have 2 in R cube being a basis. I can't have 4 in R cube being a basis. So the only possibility is 3 vectors. So I just have to check for C and D. C and D को check करेंगे तो क्या आएगा? इसको if I need to prove that this forms a basis, I need to basically find whether these are linearly independent or not. Now, in order to find whether this is a linearly independent set of vectors, what I'll have to do is I'll simply have to find out the determinant value. If the determinant value is not equal to 0, then they are linearly independent. If it is equal to 0, then they are linearly dependent. तो ये 3 वेक्टर के साथ में स्टार्ट करते हैं. So 1 1 1 1 2 3 2 minus 1 1. You can simply expand. बहुत ही simple है. If I expand by the first row, 1 into 2 plus 3 minus 1 into 1 minus 6 plus 1 into minus 1 minus 4. So 5 minus 5 plus 5 minus 5. तो ये कैंसिल हुआ. 5 not equal to 0. हमारा आंसर ऐसे ही निकल गया. I don't have to check part D because this is the MCQ part. तो MCQ part में आंसर डायरेक्टली हमारा निकल आया because only one option can be correct. We can also verify that the second one are linearly dependent. How? 1 minus 2 1 2 1 minus 1 7 minus 4 1. Okay, I expand by say this. Okay, so let's do it. 1 multiplied by this goes minus 8 minus 7 plus 1. This goes minus 4 plus 14 plus 1 goes 2 plus 2. Okay, so this is basically minus 8 minus 7 minus 15 plus 10 plus 4. So 1 yes, this is the problem. Okay, this is basically 1 तो ये हो गया 15 minus 15 plus 10 plus 5. Correct. Therefore, these have to be linearly dependent. It has to be linearly dependent. No two ways about it. ठीक है? तो आंसर क्या है? C. You don't have to verify D, but yet we have verified. हमने verify कर लिया है. ठीक है?
IIT JAM 2022, question number 7. From which of the following, who first examined the close negative relationship between unemployment rate and the output ratio? The answer is, it was not Phillips, it was not Tobin, it was Okun. So the answer is Okun, C. So C.
IIT JAM 2022, question number 8. In the hypothesis testing, which of the following defines the size of power of the test? Now, power of the test is basically 1 minus type 2 error. Okay, 1 minus type 2 error. Now, type 2 error is basically 1 minus probability that I fail to reject H0 when H1 is true. That is, I am failing to reject my null hypothesis when my alternative is true. That is, I am not being able to select my alternative hypothesis when actually my alternative is true. So 1 minus probability of accepting the null hypothesis when it is false is the best answer, although you never actually say that you accept the null hypothesis. If you have seen my testing of hypothesis theory video, I have explained in detail why we don't say that we accept the null hypothesis. We always say we fail to reject it. Okay, answer is option C.
Not a postulate of classical model of full employment. Wage price is, perfect information is. This is not, savings is not a function of income in the classical model. It's a function of interest rate. This is also a part of the classical model. So the answer is C.
Question number 10, IIT JAM 2022. A long run cost function for a product exhibits economies of scale. So when will it exhibit economy of scale? If I draw the diagram, this is how the long run average cost looks. Okay. Now, this is the point where the operation will happen. Correct? This is where it will happen. Now, in this downward sloping part, I have economies of scale, because as I am increasing my output, my average cost is decreasing. That is called economies of scale. So average cost of production falls as the output increases. Answer is C. This is when the economies of scale will hold. Let's go on to the next. Question number 11. Question number 11. Okay. Let x cube plus 3y square is equal to 4. I need to basically find out the differential equation for the same. So in order to find out the differential equation for the same, what I will do is, I'll basically differentiate. So x cube plus 3y square plus is equal to 4. If I differentiate this throughout with respect to y, what will I get? I'll get 3x square plus 6y into dy by dx is equal to 0. Again, I differentiate it once. 6x plus 6y d2y dx square. Okay. Plus 6 into dy by dx into dy by dx. Basically, it is chain rule that I'm doing here. What am I doing here? 6y dy by dx is 6y and then differentiating dy by dx, or 6 dy by dx differentiating this y, which gives me this, is equal to 0. So 6x plus 6y into y double dash plus 6y dash square is equal to 0. Now I can take 6 common and remove it. X plus y into y double dash plus y dash square. Yes, see, this is my answer. D. ठीक है? Question number 13, JAM 2022. Let f go from 0 to infinity to set of real number be a function defined by fx is equal to x plus 1 by x plus 2. Then what can be said about f? So first thing that we need to see whether it is a one-to-one function or not. Okay, in order to find out whether a function is one-to-one or not, fx1 is equal to fx2 when x1 not necessarily equal to x2. That is, if this is the case, then it is not one-to-one. Okay, and if fx1 is equal to fx2 only when x1 is equal to x2, then it is a one-to-one function. So we can check that firstly. X1 plus 1 by x1 plus 2 should be equal to x2 plus 1 by x2 plus 2. Okay, this can only hold if x1 is equal to x2. If we are able to prove that, then it is a one-to-one function. So let's check it. You can cross multiply x1 x2 plus 2 x1 plus x2 plus 2 is equal to x1 x2 plus 2 x2 plus x1 plus 2. So x1 x2 cancels, 2 cancels, and what am I left with? I am left with this x1 goes x1, x2 goes there. What does this mean? This basically means that x1 plus 1 by x1 plus 2 is equal to x2 plus 1 by x2 plus 2 only when x1 is equal to x2. Therefore, the function f has to be 1-to-1. No other alternative. It has to be 1-to-1. So, not 1-to-1 options, out. Out. Now I need to check whether it is onto or not. Okay, what is an onto function? An onto function is when the range is equal to the codomain. That function is called an onto function. Here, what is the codomain? The codomain is given to us. The set of all real numbers is the codomain. Now, whether the function is onto or not, how to check? Find out the range. If I see that the range is not equal to the codomain, then it is an into function. If the range is equal to the codomain, then it's an onto function, right? So let's make an attempt to find out what the range is. So in order to find out the range, we can use this space. चलो रेंज निकालते हैं. y is equal to x plus 1 by x plus 2. This is what it is, right? ये देखिए, x plus 1 by x plus 2. So this can be written as x plus 2 minus 1 by x plus 2, 1 minus 1 by x plus 2. 1 by x plus 2 is equal to 1 minus y, or in other words, x plus 2 is equal to 1 by 1 minus y, or x is equal to 1 by 1 minus y minus 2, okay, which is equal to 1 minus 2 plus 2y divided by 1 minus y. So this is basically 2y minus 1 divided by 1 minus y. It is quite clear that if I want to find out the range for this function, y cannot be equal to 1. If y is equal to 1, then this becomes undefined. Okay, right? So how to find out the range? What am I doing? I am only doing x in terms of y. I have y in terms of x. I write down x in terms of y and find out the domain for this. If I find out the domain for this, I'll get the range of the original function. So here I see that y cannot be equal to 1. Therefore, y not equal to 1 means that the range does not contain the value 1. That means the range cannot be equal to the codomain. Because the codomain is the set of all real numbers, but the range does not contain the number 1. If it is not containing the number 1, it means that the range has to be a subset of the codomain. It's not equal to it. Therefore, it's not an onto function. So what is my answer? The answer is 1 to 1, but not onto. B is my answer. Okay?
Question 14. An economy is characterized by the solar model with the production function y is root k. Steady state level of output is given with these variables. Now we put in the value. Suppose a is equal to 1. So my y ss is equal to a is 1. So I'll remove this whole term because 1 to the power of anything is 1. Gamma is 50%. So let's say I put a 0.5 here. And then there's del. Del is 5%. So that's going to be 0.05. And then this whole thing is going to be to the power half by 1 minus half. So half by half is 1. So this is going to be 0.5 by 0.05. So YSS is going to be basically 50 by 5, which is going to be 10. So YSS is going to be 10. So the current output is what? So YSS is the steady state level of output. Now the current output is just going to be y to the power root k. Now y is equal to root k. K is 400 and the root of that is going to be 20. So current output is 20, but our steady state output is 10. So the current output is above the steady state level of output per worker. So the answer should be A. Question 15, after the 1991 deregulation, so we had the crisis after which the IMF bailout package was implemented in India, in which India deregulated. It went from a licensee economy to a deregulated economy. So this was associated with that fiscal austerity. We had a balance of payments crisis. We had to reduce our subsidies, but it was the opposite. There was encouragement of trade.
Question number 16. IIT JAM 2022. Let the second order difference equation be, okay, let me increase it. Yn plus 2 plus 4yn is equal to 4yn plus 1. Okay, n is equal to 2, 3, 4 up to whatever. So let's put the n values and I'll take yn value. Okay, so n is equal to 0, y0 is 1, n is equal to 1, y1 is 4, n is equal to 2. I'll have to calculate. Please understand yn plus 2 is equal to, if I take this yn on the other side, 4 into yn plus 1 minus yn. This is what I have. Okay, so y2 will therefore be 4 into y1 minus y0. So this is 12. So this will be 12. Alright. 3. y3 will be 4 into y2 minus y1. So 4 into y2 minus y1 8 into 4, 32. Okay. 4. Y4 is equal to 4 into Y3 minus Y2. 4 into 32 minus Y2 is 12. 4 into 20, 80. Okay. Now, which option will be the best? Please understand, what I am getting here is, I am getting 0, 1, 1, 4, 2, 12, 3, 32, 4, 80. So, am I not getting n plus 1 into 2 to the power of n? You can just put in the value of n. Just put in the value of n here. N is equal to 2. Okay. If I put n is equal to 2, 1 plus 4 into 2 to the power of 2. 5 into 4. It's 20. 5 into 4 is 20, but here the answer is 12. Out. Here, therefore, if you take a look, then again you put n is equal to 2. It will be 1 plus half into 2 square. So 3 by 2 into 4, which is again 6. Out. So you can remove all these options in that way only. N is equal to 2. 4 plus 2 plus 1 into 2 square. 7 into, this is 28. 28 is not equal to 12. The only thing that will work out for you is option B. 1 plus 2, 3. 3 into 2 square. 3 into 2 square is 12. See, I got my 12. Similarly, n is equal to 3, you should get 32, which you will get from here. N is equal to 4, you should get 80, which you get from here. So you get the values by putting in the options itself. Okay. So the answer here is B.
IIT JAM 2022, question number 17. We have two random samples, N1 and N2. Okay. Selected without replacement. Remember, in the without replacement, we had the formula sigma square by n minus n by n minus 1. Okay. And the variance of the two proportions is what we have to find here, which is basically going to be variance of proportion 1 plus variance of proportion 2, which is nothing but sigma 1 square by n1 into this plus sigma 2 square by n2 into n2 minus n2 by n2 minus 1. Okay, this is what we get. Now, it's given to us that sigma 1 square is n1 p1 q1 and n2 p2 q2. So, sigma square by n2, see, the mean is n1 p1 n2 p2, right? So this will be basically sigma square by n1 into n1, because sigma square itself is sigma this n1 p1 q1 divided by n1 square. So sigma 1 square by n1, that is what it should be. So what will I get? I'll get basically n1 p1 q1 by n1 square. So this will cancel out. So ultimately I'll get p1 q1 by n1 multiplied by n1 minus 1 by n1 minus n1 by n1 minus 1. This will be the variance of the first, this one, and the variance of the second will therefore be this one, and under root will give me my answer. Answer is A. No other thing will satisfy. N1 plus N2 will obviously not be there. It will be only N1. Similarly, here it will be only N2. Okay. So this is question number 17.
The next question is, which of the following is not correct in the context of the quantity theory of money? The quantity of money available determines the price. Yes. The growth of money determines inflation. Yes. Velocity must rise. No. Velocity stable. And the economy's output is determined by factor, supplies, and technology, because money is neutral. Yes. So the answer is C.
Question number 19. Let the function be this. We know that f0 is equal to 0. First thing that we need to see is whether it will be continuous or not. So in order for continuity, we need to basically check on the LHL or the RHL, the left hand limit or the right hand limit. So limit h tends to 0. Let's check the right hand limit first. 0 plus h comma 0 plus h. Okay, this is the right hand limit. So basically what are we going to see? Limit h tends to 0, f of hh will be basically h into h square by h cube plus 2h cube plus h cube. Correct? So this will be limit h tends to 0, h cube by 4h cube. This is what I will get as the right hand limit. Now obviously, as we can see, the functional value is equal to 0. For continuity, I should have left hand limit at 0 0 should be equal to the right hand limit at 0 0 should be equal to the functional value at 0 0. You will notice that right hand limit we have already found out. Left hand limit, if you find out, you will again get an answer which is 1 by 4. Minus h cube minus h cube minus h cube minus h cube. Yes, you'll again get 1 by 4. LHL and RHL will be the same, but it's not equal to the functional value, which is equal to 0. So function is not continuous at 0 0 will be my answer. Okay, this is what my answer will be.
Question 20. Which of the following measures was announced by the Government of India in the year 1994? Full convertibility on the capital account, we don't have that. Full convertibility on the current account, yes, was happened in 1994. So we don't need the others.
IIT JAM 2022, question number 21. An analyst at the green car company estimated this demand function. Okay. PE, PF, all values are given. So QE is going to be 0.75 minus 1.5 into PE plus 2.5 into PF minus 0.5 into PB plus 3.2 into income. Okay, this is what we'll have. So just solve this. 0.75 minus 1.5 into 6.5 plus 2.5 into 4.5. Just calculate the entire thing. You will get ultimately an answer which is equal to, let's calculate it. Giving you the time to calculate, please calculate. This will ultimately come down to 34. QE will be equal to 34. Now, what I need to find out here, I need to find out income elasticity of demand and the cross price elasticity of demand. Now, what is income elasticity of demand? Income elasticity of demand is as follows. DQE DI into I by QE. Now DQE DI, DQD DI, look at this. DQD DI will be 3.2. I just have to differentiate with respect to I. 3.2 multiplied by I is equal to 10. QE is equal to 34. So basically 32 by 34 is what I will get, which is approximately 0.9412. So these two are not the answers. Okay, now we need to check the cross price elasticity. Cross price elasticity is DQE DPF into PF by QE. DQE DPF is 4.5 PF is 2.5. So the derivative is 2.5 multiplied by PF is 4.5 divided by QE. So 2.5 into 4.5 divided by 34 is 0.33, is approximately 0.33. Okay, so the answer will not be this. Also, the answer will be IIT JAM 2022 question number 22. Okay. Choose the option that represents the original linear programming problem based on the initial simplex tableau given below. Okay, where SI represents the slack and surplus variable and AI will represent the artificial variables. Okay, ये जो पूरा process है of the slack and the artificial variable, this is a very lengthy process and आज हम लोग खाली इतना ही देखेंगे how to make the problem given the constraint optimization equations. ठीक है, so whenever I have a minimize, मैं individually करूंगा आपके लिए and then we'll just compare it with the table that we have at hand here. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले हम लोग ऑप्शन ए को देखेंगे. ऑप्शन ए क्या बोल रहा है? ऑप्शन ए ये बोल रहा है मिनिमाइज z is equal to 15x plus 25y subject to 7x plus 6y greater than equal to 20, 3x minus 2y less than equal to 18, 8x plus 5y less than equal to 30, x and y greater than equal to 0. ठीक है, so now we will basically see that how to introduce the slack and the artificial variable. Whenever I have a greater than equal to, जब भी मेरे पास में एक greater than equal to inequality है in the constraint, I need to introduce one slack variable and one artificial variable. Okay, whenever I have a less than equal to 3x minus 2y minus plus s2, because it is a less than equal to, so I need to add something to it in order to get to 18. And in this case, I will not add any artificial variable. Artificial variables are only added when the inequality is greater than equal to or when the inequality is exactly equal to. Okay, so यहाँ पर plus s2 and nothing else. Last but not the least, 8x plus 5y plus s3 is equal to 30. So in this case, in the constraint itself, I have only one artificial variable and I have three slack variables. Look at this, minus s1 plus a1. Okay, here this is, if you are able to see it, ये देखिए, एक slack variable है minus and एक artificial variable है. So if I have a -1 of a slack variable and an artificial variable, that means that this inequality is greater than equal to 7x plus 6y greater than equal to 20. I don't have any slack variables for the second one, but I have an artificial variable. Only one artificial variable basically means that it has an equality sign, equal to sign. So 3x minus 2y is equal to 18. Here I have only one slack variable, that means that it is a less than equal to 8x plus 5y less than equal to 30. So 8x plus 5y less than equal to 30, only one slack variable. The only issue if I compare option A with this table is, in the second equation I have only one artificial variable. Only one artificial variable does not mean that I have a less than equal to. It means it is equal to. So option A is incorrect. Okay. Similarly, if you take a look at option C में z is equal to 15x plus, तो यहां पर क्या होगा, यहां पर बेसिकली ये होगा, यहां पर बेसिकली I will have one slack variable and one artificial variable. यहाँ पर I have 3x minus 2y plus one artificial variable. Okay. Here I will have minus s1 plus another artificial variable. So if whenever I have a greater than equal to, I subtract a slack variable and add an artificial variable. Okay. So if I compare this again with the original equation or the table that I have here, slack minus 1 artificial plus 1 matching, only artificial plus 1 matching, minus s1 plus s3, it is only s3 and I don't have any artificial in the third equation. So this one is also incorrect. Now, last but not the least, this one is equal to 20. Equal to 20 is only one artificial variable. Only one artificial variable. Less than equal to one slack variable only. Okay. So this again does not match. Another thing, whenever I have an artificial variable, it will be added in the maximizing or the minimizing problem. How will it be added? So if I have, supposing a minimizing problem, okay, the slack variables are like this. So if I have, supposing two slack variables, if I take a look at this example in itself, क्या है, कुछ ऐसा है, this first one has s1, s2 and s3. So I will write it as, I will write this equation as minus s1 plus a1 है ना. So minus 0 s1 plus s2 plus s3 है ना. So plus 0 s2 plus 0 s3. How many artificial variables do I have here? Only one. So I'll write it as plus m a1. ठीक है? Okay. And whenever I have a maximizing problem, this m will become minus m a1. For all the artificial variables, whenever I have a minimizing problem, this becomes plus. Whenever I have a maximizing problem, I need to subtract m into the artificial variable. This m is a very large number. So you will notice that A, C and D will all be incorrect. The correct answer will be B. If you take a look at B, here I have one slack variable, one artificial variable. Here I will have only one artificial variable. Here I will have only slack variable. So minus s1 plus a1, minus s1 plus a1, only plus a2, only a2, only s3, only s3. And it is a maximizing problem, so it will be minus m. Okay. And how are these being calculated? Let me share. This is only according to the artificial variable. The artificial variable is only in the first and the second. So a1 and a2 here. So 7 and 3. And I have a negative m. So 7 plus 3 is 10. So I have minus 10. Look at this. a1 and a2. 20 plus 18. Therefore minus 38. 6 minus 2. 4. Therefore minus 4. Okay. And Cj minus Zj. This is my coefficient in the objective function. So 15x plus 25y, 15x plus 25y, that will feature here. Okay. So this is how you form the table. Now what am I doing? I am just adding it. Cj minus Zj I am doing. So 15 minus of minus 10m. So 15 plus 10m. 25 plus 4m. That is what you get here. Okay. I'm not going into the process what to do next in order to solve it, but only the formulation is important for each of you to know. Okay, so this is JAM 2022, question number 22. JAM 2022 question number 23. Let the production function be this. Okay. Now, returns to scale factors. Okay. For beta greater, which of the following is not correct is the question, firstly. So for beta greater than 1, the function exhibits increasing. Returns to scale cannot be said if I have a log here. So if I supposing double my input, that is I double L and K. So what becomes beta by alpha log of 2 to the power alpha, I think will be common, basically alpha L to the power. How can I compare this with beta by alpha log of? I can't compare. I can't say that this is double of this because I have a logarithm there. That is the extra term. Right? I'll get log 2. It's log 2 times. Right? So the returns to scale cannot be commented on if I have a log here. So this is definitely one of the answers. This is a MSQ, multiple select choice. So multiple can be correct. B is an answer, which is not correct. Now we need to find out elasticity of substitution. Please understand beta by alpha helps in identification of returns to scale factors. Returns to scale factors is basically 1 by q dq dl, 1 by q dq dk. So that logarithm will enable you to get. So this is correct and hence not the answer. Now elasticity of substitution is basically d log k by L divided by d log MPL by MPK. Okay, so MPL by MPK, let's find out here. 1 by Q dq dl is equal to okay, and dq dk this is what I'll get. Okay. So what will this be? MPL by MPK I need. So this basically cancels out. This cancels out. Alpha cancels out. Ultimately, I'll be left with L by K to the power alpha minus 1. Okay. Now if I take log L by K, sorry. K by L, ठीक है. Okay. Now 1 by alpha minus 1 is now log L by K will become log K by L if I make this change. What change will I make? I'll make this 1 minus alpha. Okay. K by L, this becomes 1 minus alpha. Okay. So basically what will happen here is 1 by 1 minus alpha. So elasticity of substitution is 1 by 1 minus alpha. So this is correct and hence not the answer. D is my answer. B and D will be the answer for 23.
24. Which of the following statements is not correct under the ISI fixed price model? The LM curve represents combination of income and interest where money market is in an equilibrium. This is correct. The IS curve represents combination of income and interest rate where product market is in equilibrium. This is also correct. An increase in money supply raises income and reduces interest rate when the IS curve has a negative slope and the LM curve has a positive slope. So this is also correct. So that means this is incorrect. So the answer should be D.
IIT JAM 2022 question number 25. The probability of getting head in a toss of a biased coin is 2/3. Let the coin be tossed 3 times independently, then the probability of getting head in the first 2 tosses and tail in the final toss. So first 2 tosses is head and then tail. As simple as that.